Thanks for tuning in to The Real Deal Show, brought to you by eBodyboarding.com and Tribe Boards. Hey folks, Jay Reale back at you with another Real Deal episode. I am on location in my old hometown, Ocean City, Maryland, and this man sitting next to me is somewhat of an icon here in Ocean City. I'm going to welcome to the show Brian Stoehr. What's happening, Brian?
Thank you for having me.
I'm stoked to have you, buddy. And Brian and I have known each other for many years. And I'll tell you, Brian's story and my story have a lot of parallels. And we're going to get into Brian's, sort of his origin story, how he got to where he is now, running, arguably one of the most prolific surf schools on the entire East Coast. And it's called, what's the name of the school?
Wave Riding School.
There you go. And we're going to give you the details on how you can reach Wave Riding School. If you're ever in this area and you want to learn how to surf, this is your guy. But Brian, let's go back to the beginning, man. You're about 15 years younger than me, a little more than that probably. But our stories have a lot of parallels. So tell us, where did you grow up? Let's hear how it all started.
So, yeah, our stories are scary similar. I think I think we joked somewhere along the line, if I ended up marrying an Australian girl, then we couldn't hang out anymore. But I grew up on the other side of the Bay Bridge, Howard County, which is similar to, I think, what you did.
You were outside of Baltimore, yeah?
Yep. I moved to Ocean City when I was 13.
Okay. Younger than me, but not too far off.
And then I went to high school in Ocean City.
Yep.
And then been bodyboarding, similar to you, and did it as a career for a little while. I tried to follow in your footsteps as close as I possibly could. So a lot of it thanks to you. So
let's talk about, how did you get into bodyboarding living in Howard County? Were you guys coming down here on vacations and stuff?
Yeah, so my dad and my uncle taught me how to surf first. So opposite of what a lot of people get into bodyboarding first as a stepping stone to surf. I started surfing at like 6 years old. My parents would come to the beach in the summertime, so we'd spend the summers in Ocean City. My dad would push me into waves, and then we just ran into someone that said Ocean City is like such a good bodyboard place, and it's a better bodyboard place than surf, I think.
And by the way, we just got out of a couple-hour session. It is spitting barrels right out there, so if you see us diverted away from the camera, you know why.
Still pretty good. Yep.
So continue.
Yeah, so I was able to instead of driving to the surf beach or whatever, and I was pretty young, right? So I got into bodyboarding. I ran a beach stand in Ocean City, and I'd spend all day in the water, not working the beach stand, but out in the water. And yeah, I mean, it was my passion. I grew up watching you, ironically, which I know we've talked about. And coming from Ocean City, like a lot of my life was mirrored after, what you did. So
thanks, man. I mean, did you get into competition at an early age?
I started competing at 12, so I started surfing at 6, like bodyboarded just because I couldn't surf during the day. In Ocean City, it's blackballed during the day, so I'd surf in the morning and then take a bodyboard out and play around. And then I started competing in the ESA when I was around 11 or 12 years old, and then I did ESA contests, regional contests, East Coast contests, US contests, again, like honestly mirrored after just what this guy did. So I've said that a lot over the years. I owe my career to a handful of people, you being one of them for sure. So.
Well, thank you, man. I'm honored to hear that. That's humbling, and I'm stoked to see your successes. But let's stick on the history part of it. You were competing in the ESA, the local district here, and you graduated from Stephen Decatur High School, same place I graduated from.
Yep.
What year did you graduate?
Graduated in 97.
Okay, and then after you graduated, what did you do? What did you do for work and all that stuff?
So out of high school, I somehow, you timed this like as good as you could possibly time this as far as a bodyboard career. I timed it pretty good too, I guess. Like the era that you were in, it was as good as it gets. I got lucky with the timing, so I did, I moved to California. I did pro contests. I actually did better professionally than I did, I did good as an amateur. I never won a U.S. championship as an amateur. You didn't you?
Yes.
Won a U.S. amateur. I never won a U.S. I think I got second like 3 times or whatever. But I won like some, I won a bunch of pro contests or whatever. So.
Well, let's talk about those. So you kept competing, and there was the USBA, right? Is that what you were doing?
So there was the USBA. Before that, it was like, I guess the Bud Tour turned into the like Shockwave Tour, the US Panasonic Tour. Remember, we did those for a long time. And then it became USBA. That Bitzer ran for
Jason Bitzer,
ever, and Steve Jackson and all those guys. So I did those like from the start of it till the end of it. I mean, we did it. I did it till there wasn't as much of a pro tour in the U.S.
And for those of you that don't know, the USBA, U.S. Bodyboarding Association, Jason Bitzer, who's originally from New Jersey, and then moved to Hawaii, became a lifeguard over there, and Steve Jackson, also from New Jersey, who now lives in Southern California. They ran events here on the East Coast and on the West Coast.
And in Hawaii. So it was so I did all of those for, years and years. You did a handful. I did a couple,
But
I mean, that was a great, that was a blast for a number of years.
And you won that circuit, right?
I won. So I did real well drop knee wise. I finished second, third, like multiple years. I won the drop knee title once or twice. I joked one of them I won because David was in Portugal or somewhere. So
Dave Hubbard.
I think I thanked David for not being there at one of the one of the events that I won. So. One of the tours, like points wise, I think I won the points tour. The points, like the whole thing, twice in my career. So
that's sick.
And made a living doing it for like it. That gave me a lot of what I've got now. So
making a living for being a bodyboarder,
pretty
was that a combination of prize money and endorsement contracts?
Yeah, and I know I've talked to a number of people about this. I never thought I was the best at what I thought. I was pretty lucky at it. I think I was smart about how I did it. I think I timed it, okay. I think I had a lot of good friends in the industry that watched out for me, like you being one, Chris Monroe being another, like a lot of guys that still take care of me now with, I do a lot with catch surf now. And my catch surf thing is all my buddies from the bodyboard industry that run that company and are extending my career and letting me play in the water. I still surf as much now, I swear, as I did. I spent all day on the beach between the school and like
so let's back up a little bit. So you were competing in USBA, that sort of fizzled out. And then what was your next move? You got into real estate for a while. Oh, sorry, car shows.
Yeah, so I had.
And then real estate.
Yeah, I had I've always had my real estate license. I've always been interested in that. I don't do a lot with it, more for like my personal stuff or my family's stuff. And then owned an event company for a while. I sold that like years ago. So now I'm playing in the water, doing a few things for catch surf and teaching people how to surf.
Yeah, I was going to say, so this is a big deal because we mentioned the surf school, which is that's how you make a living now.
Yeah.
How did that get started?
So I've been teaching surf lessons like here and there for K-Coast, which is right across the street from where we're sitting.
That's a surf shop here in Ocean City.
Since I was like 16, and through my career, I'd like do them when I was home. I'd have some camps that had my name on it, similar to you, which I did when I was like a younger kid.
Yes. Brian Stoehr camp.
Yeah, so I'd have those, and I'd do lessons here and there, and then we put my name on the school, years ago, and it was a small thing. But as I started doing less traveling, less with the event stuff, and I did more and more and more with that. I love doing that. I love bodyboarding. I love surfing. I'm getting a kick out of passing it on to other people. It's a passion for sure. Like I have as much fun doing that. It doesn't feel like work one bit. I would pay people to let me do it, in all honesty. Yeah, so I'm doing it because I love it. Bodyboarding I did because I loved it. Nothing to do with like anything but loving the sport and having fun with it ever came into my mind when I started doing that. And the school is kind of similar. Like, it wasn't something I was really trying to do to make a living, which is probably why it's making a living.
It just happened that way. Like, you got more of a following.
Yeah.
And you were doing it for K-Coast originally, and then you kind of started branding it as the surfing school, right?
Yeah, so the wave riding, the wave riding school is mine. Friends of mine own the store, so it's a perfect. I've got no interest in retail. Like, I want to do just what I'm good at and nothing else. So, so it's like it's worked out pretty well, and I can like do it the right way. Do it because I want to do it. It's all done like in a one-on-one setting.
So let me ask you: is the wave riding school?
Yep.
By the way, what's the website?
WaveRidingSchool.com.
And Instagram?
All of it's Wave Riding School.
Wave Riding School.
Wave
So
Riding
that's
School.
pretty amazing. You got those domains.
Yes.
And did you get them, or K-Coast got them?
I got those years. I've had them for years. The school's been in that form for, man, almost like 20 years. It just, I didn't put as much time and energy, into it. Now I've got time and energy to do what I want, which is awesome.
So let's talk about that. You do what you want. So you've assembled a staff of instructors.
Yep.
And you have people that take pictures. In fact, we had Emma, one of your girls down here, taking pictures of us this morning.
Yeah, we'll have to post some of the.
We'll post some shots up for sure on eBodyboarding Instagram if I got anything. I haven't seen any pictures yet. And
there's photos. I saw them get some.
Okay. So that's good. By the way, if you hear me shivering, it's cold.
It's chilly.
It looks nice and warm, but it's. We just get out of the water and I'm still thawing out. But in any case, so you have this staff of people that run sort of the day-to-day, and you're there to oversee it and kind of jump in and give little tips to individual people that are doing the school, right?
Yeah, so I think this sport works so much better in a one-on-one setting, as in, sometimes we've got a handful of people in the water, but especially with younger kids we take a lot of younger kids surfing, but really no matter what the age, like we started at age 3 and I've got people in their 80s that go surf with us.
Wow.
And it works so much better having an instructor with each one. And I'm on the beach like every day, mainly because I love it. I have fun doing it.
Of course.
But we've got it down to like a good system, and I'm spending, I'm not thinking about what making money from it. I'm thinking about doing it the right way by the like person taking a lesson, and then I get to like employ a bunch of my buddies, and makes for like the best experience possible for someone that's taking a lesson with us, learning how to do this. So just because that wave changes every day. If it was like 1 foot and no wind, if I knew what the conditions were like, if this were a wave pool, like cake to take 20 people out, just me. But this way I get to weigh in on, I can see everyone, I can help everyone, and I'm in the water. I teach lessons all the time.
Yeah.
I just got it set up to where I can help as many people as possible. So
that's pretty killer. So you run the camp. I keep saying camp because I have a camp.
Yeah, same one. It's one and the same. We're like,
but it's a school. The wave riding school is, I think about Ocean City, Maryland. The water is freezing for, let's say, 8 months, 7 months out of the year. The water's very cold by most people's standards. Obviously, in the winter, it's a no-go for a wave riding school because it could be snowing on the beach.
So ironically, we do lessons all year. Obviously, in the winter, it's like a small group of people.
Really? Right? You're still doing lessons in the winter?
We've got lessons all year.
Wow.
We've talked about, I spend a couple months down south just to escape the cold, but I've got a lot of the guys that are here that'll teach. But I've got wetsuits, we got gloves and boots, we've got everything. I deter people from taking lessons till late April. April through like November. We do lessons 7 days a week. Camp lessons, people ask me about that all the time. To me, one and the same. Like we have surf camps, bodyboard camps 7 days a week. Like
crazy.
That's pretty much what we do. I just got enough people to make it so that we can manage it and we can do it. And as in, if there's 20 people in the water, or 15 people in the water, or 10 people in the water, there's like 10 instructors, 15 and 20 instructors in the water. So
you can't keep a full staff year round, obviously.
In the winter, we've just got a skeleton, skeleton. There's just a handful.
But
of us.
everyone comes back when the spring comes and wants to work and do this again.
Yep.
And they what do they do in the winter? They just find
there's a handful. I've got a bunch of like unique guys that help, that also I think love doing it. Like I've built a really good group of people over the years.
Yeah.
One of the guys is a snowboard instructor in the winter. A handful of my friends are teachers. That's the tricky part of doing this for me. The teaching is like, to teach someone to surf or body, I think is easy. That I spend a lot of my time finding people to help me do it, more so than like finding people to take lessons or like come to the school.
Yeah.
Way more of my time goes into like creating 3 more of me. That's the hard part. Right. Probably the hard part with any business or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah.
You got to find people that are good managers,
Yeah, totally.
That can carry your vision through the business as you would, but like you said, you can't clone yourself, so you really have to rely on that as your business grows.
Yeah. But I get as much of a kick out of like helping them as I do. Just the whole thing works great because I'm able to introduce this sport to a lot of people, surfing and bodyboarding, like any kind of wave riding. We've got like skim, people come and do skim with us, and I send them to a buddy of mine, Jason Wilson, is like the best skimboard person to do that around here. So I've just got like a real good team, and it's awesome for me to try and help a lot of different people, from the instructors to the people taking lessons to so
spreading the love, as it were. So you're set up now so that I know you go to Florida around November, December, early December.
Well, I kind of wait till it gets too cold to do lessons. I kind of base it literally on what the weather's doing or what the water temperature's doing.
Okay.
I've kind of figured out like the threshold for people that aren't acclimated to the water, where they get in the water and they're like, no, I don't want to go.
Yeah.
I don't want to be out there. So
right.
Once the water hits a certain temperature, I'll go south.
So you bail for Florida, and you're there for like 4 months.
Yeah.
And by the way, you can see his exploits in Florida by checking his Instagram, which is?
It's Brian Stoehr.
And that's Stoehr.
Yep.
Is how you spell his last name.
I think in my lifetime, I've had one person pronounce my name right.
Oh man, let me hear some of the.
Most people say it's Stoehr. And most people still call me that.
Stoehr.
The first time I ever met you probably was I don't know if it's because you knew someone in my family, but you said my last name right. I was probably like 14 years old.
I'm big on that, man. I like to find out the correct pronunciation for stuff, but
I'll tell you what else is kind of funny. We take a lot of little kids surfing.
Yep.
A lot of younger, like 3 years old, 6 years old, 12 years old, whatever. And I all the time hear, I ask them what they, what do you want to learn, if they, especially if it's someone advanced. And I still to this day remember you asking me like, what do you want to learn? I was young, keep in mind, but I still remember saying like, I'm good, I know how to do this already. and I hear kids tell me that all the time, and I use that joke for like it, just kind of a funny.
That's great.
Funny thing that I went through that I can relate back to these kids. So.
Well, I remember getting back to you what you just said about the pronunciation of your name. You actually had a signature board with the logo, which was like eyes that stare at you.
Exactly.
And the idea, maybe partially, subliminally being, learn how to pronounce my last name.
Yep.
It's staring. Like stare, but not spelled like stare.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
But my last name, when I moved to California, everyone called me J. Reale. Reale, not real, Reale, because there's a historic roadway that goes throughout Southern California called El Camino Real. Yep. So they all thought that's how and still, some people that I've known for many years still call me J. Reale.
But a lot of my good friends call me Stoehr.
Stoehr, people that you've probably corrected a million times and they still get it wrong.
Yep.
So let's talk about surf travel, Brian. Let's hear about what was your most memorable surf trip.
Most?
You have one.
So I've got a couple. I've got 3 that I can. So people always ask like what best waves in the world. I went to Indo. Like I went on a trip with Phil Harnsberger, Jacob Reeve, to Indo. Probably the best waves I've ever surfed.
Where in Indo did
we
you
went
go?
to Sumbawa.
Sick.
And surf Lakeys. And
Yeah.
I remember a couple days with like literally the three of us, no one else out, thinking like a wave can't get any better than this.
Wow.
Like the same wave over and over and over and over. So wave wise, like that's probably like one of the best wave experiences I've ever had.
Yep.
I went on a great trip to Australia with a bunch of East Coast guys who went and saw like your land. They went to Port Macquarie, and
Yeah.
Actually your brother-in-law went with us, Pete.
Yes.
Shot photos with us. So wave wise, that was awesome. I've done a couple like East Coast. I didn't, so I looked up to you way before I knew you, and now, good friend of mine, and I've gone on a couple trips with you. But I think you and I did a trip, like a East Coast, like a BZ tour up and down the East Coast. Those things were awesome for me. Just like, and a lot of people tell you this that have grown up, watching you, and the way before I knew you, I, looked up to you. So it's cool for me to have become good friends with you, but then also have gone on some trips with you and whatnot. So
Quick sidebar about that particular trip. I interviewed Jeff Hubbard a few months ago, and we talked about that promo trip.
Oh yeah.
And how we ate. My goal was to eat pizza every single day. I don't know if you remember that part of it.
Yep.
And we literally had pizza every single day. But
Yeah.
we were in New York and New Jersey.
Yep.
Which is like pizza haven up
Yeah.
there, and I'm a pizza lover. So
Yep.
anyway, little sidebar there.
No, totally. and the best pizza place that what's your favorite pizza in the world?
Oh man, it's here in Ocean City. It's Lido Pizza. I love it.
Ironically, like another one of the similarities that's scary. Our lives have been like shockingly, if you look at them, shockingly, scary.
Well, you got to spend more time in Australia and meet an Australian girl. So
yeah, that was the one
the
joke
next step.
that if that ever happened, like forget whether it's you or Buckwheat or one of those guys. If that happens, then you guys can't.
Then it's
hang out
too
anymore.
weird. Yeah, it gets too weird. So okay, so you're doing the wave riding school. That's worked out super great for you. You seem to be in the water every single day. And by the way, you are ripping on a 9-foot soft top, like Jamie O'Brien status, but for the East Coast. So that's kind of been your passion lately. Your bodyboarding's still there. I mean, we went bodyboarding this morning. Your skills have not skipped a beat, but you're doing the 9-foot log. That's like your jam now. It's like what you're known for now, yeah?
Yeah, so over the last handful of years, the things that will just keep me in the water more, like we used jet skis for a few years. We used wenches. I was hanging out with a lot of skimboard guys who are using wenches. And like whatever it is to keep me in the water, I'm up for it. I've lucked out with being good friends with some of the guys at Catch Surf and doing some things with them and being able to ride some of those boards. And I'm having a blast doing it. And at this point in my career, I can like do what I want to do. Whatever's gonna have what I'm gonna have the most fun doing. And I'm having a blast riding those boards. I'm riding like an 8-foot plank, a 9-foot plank, the Heritage nose ride. I'm riding a couple different boards, but I'm able to get into waves like so far outside. We were talking about that. Like, how do you get the board out there? I can get in so far outside, and spending a career like riding a bodyboard. I don't know many things in this world well, but I feel like I know waves pretty well. So if I can get myself in the right spot, I'm comfortable.
Well, we talked about that in the water. Wave knowledge counts for a lot, you know?
Totally, absolutely.
So a lot of people get out there and they may be athletically gifted, but they don't have the benefit of decades in the ocean knowing how waves are going to break, where to be, and all that stuff. And it's hard to teach that too.
Sometimes you get to a point, I think you either have that or you don't. And this sport is fun either way. There's people out in the water like that are having a blast, that like any sport, right? Like, I'm trying to learn how to play golf, and I don't have that gift in that sport. But I'm having as much fun with it as anyone, right?
That sport's impossible to master, man.
Totally. But the log and the riding these other boards is letting me have fun sometimes on days where I probably wouldn't have. Like today was awesome on a bodyboard. Yeah. Last week I probably wouldn't have surfed, right, without like taking one of those things out. So, and then I've figured out on some big days, like I can get into waves. I can just put myself in a different spot. It's changing it up. It's been, like doing this for a lifetime. It's cool to switch it up and change it up. And
well, it's good to have options, Otherwise it can get stale.
Yeah.
And, you see guys, even young guys, like let's say Kai Lenny is a perfect example of, there's a guy who doesn't restrict himself to one sort of vehicle. That guy will ride anything, man.
We do a lot of coaching. Like we were surfing out here, and I was joking, Gavin, his little kid's got some potential from Ocean City, and he'll body surf some days. I've seen him out on a bodyboard. I remember you telling me stories of Kelly in heats of yours.
Yeah.
In ESA, like those guys are just incredible wave riders of any kind of vehicle, I bet you. I think the bodyboard's going to help your surfing. The surfing is going to help your bodyboarding. All of it kind of goes hand in hand. One's going to make you better at the other.
Yeah, I agree. If you're good at one form of wave riding, you can pick up another form of it pretty well. And like you said, it broadens your breadth of knowledge of riding a wave to try riding them on different vehicles.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's made me a better bodyboarder, wave rider. It's extended my, what I'm doing now in the water. It's given me, 43 now, and it's keeping me out there and and somewhat relevant still.
For sure, man.
Why not take advantage of having fun in the water? So
let's talk about the longevity of your wave riding. I mean, 10 years from now, you'll be 53. That'll be 2033.
Yep.
Where do you see yourself?
So the log is definitely gonna help me stay in the water for sure. A lot of the exercise that I ask him all the time about feet issues, knee issues, whatever, as we're getting older. But a lot of what I do is preventative, to make sure that I don't get as injured. I've kind of always been conscious of that. I feel like I've always been conservative kind of with everything I do in life, and I think that's helped some of my joints and I've watched Jeff get, on some waves. I think that'd break my back. I think he's made of rubber.
And he's 47, man. Yeah. The guy's still just blasting.
Crazy. But I thought of that I've traveled with Jeff a lot too, and Jeff's a real good friend of mine, and I seriously think the guy's made of rubber with some of the things he's done. But some of the throughout my career, I do things to hopefully make me last a little longer, and I'm trying to do that now too, and I think the log is helping with that too.
Okay, but let's talk about your body maintenance routine. Well, what do you do outside of surfing to keep fit?
So I've always spent a lot of time at the gym. I have run a lot. Since I was 14, I've spent a lot of time running. My knees have bothered me the last couple years, so I started biking a bit and doing some things to replace running. My knee feels way better now, so I'm running again. But cardio, stretching. I'll take yoga and whatever I can do. I am in the water a lot.
Yeah.
So that makes a big difference. Whatever I can do to prevent from getting hurt.
Are you consistently doing, say, gym and bike and run and that kind of stuff? Is it every day or every other day?
So it was every day. My knee issue is not mine's tendonitis, right? So I think I've overdone it. So I'm almost trying to go backwards.
Got it.
With anything there, my weakness is nutrition. Just like a lot of people growing up, and pizza and whatever.
This town, by the way, is chock full of crappy food places.
Yep, I'm
every
jealous of
100 yards.
I'm jealous of where you are for the for that. But
there are healthy options here too, but a lot more in California.
Way more for sure. So I'm very interested in that, how to keep myself healthy and being able to surf like this long term.
So you're thinking 10 years from now you're still running wave riding school?
Oh yeah, for sure. Why
and
not?
Just
and surfing as much as more.
Yeah.
Like,
Because
ultimately.
you'll have people to kind of manage it for you, which is fantastic. You know, obviously you found your jam, you found a comfortable place in life that you're happy with. You have a good balance of work and play, and you can escape to the warm weather in the winter. I mean, that's pretty much the
10
dream.
years from now, like, I'll maybe. How old do you have to be to play on the senior PGA Tour? that was like a.
So like you are obsessed with golf.
I'm obsessed
man.
with golf for sure, and I'm not a very great. I'm like a very inconsistent golfer. Once in a while, I'll have like a round of golf, and I'll think I want to do that.
I think
and
this
then,
is my
the next
thing,
day,
man.
like out the window. Yeah.
Well, I've been golfing since I was a little kid, and I still suck.
Yeah.
So don't feel bad.
Yeah, we've played golf a bunch over the years.
We did play a few times. Yep. So yeah, you know.
Not recently. We used to play golf like it's probably been 20 years.
Yeah, it's been probably 20 years. Sometimes when I'd come back to visit, we would go.
Yep.
That's true. Yeah, it's been a while, but
so we'll see if that holds true. I'd love to do. That's a very time consuming, like, you know, you got to put a lot of time in.
Yeah, and it's it takes a few hours to do a round of golf for sure. So it's not one of those.
I sometimes
things.
think or wonder if I would have put the time. I mean, both of us I dedicated my life to bodyboarding. I mean, as did you, like even more so. Like the amount of time that went into that, I wonder how it would have worked in another sport. But I'll tell you that, like, still, you know, I rode a bodyboard today and had more fun doing that than like anything. That was awesome. I had a blast.
Yes. I'm stoked, man. So yeah, well, that's good, man. You got a good gig going. You know, let's kind of bring it back and wrap things up. I have a couple more questions. One would be any place that you want to go, bucket list destinations you want to travel to here.
So I've got two. He always does a trip to Fiji.
Yeah,
that's tour. One place that I haven't been that for probably for like 5 or 6 years I've been saying I'm gonna go one day. So I've got to travel to a lot of the places I've always wanted to go. That's one. And Kelly's Pool. I'd love to surf.
We're working on that one for you. So, yeah. Well, hey, I could probably help you with both of those. So
we'll do both.
I'll post the link to the bodyboarding travel page in the description, by the way, if you want to join us on one of these trips, and also to the wave riding school, Brian's business. So again, you can sign up for lessons. I mean, there's no better option if you're in the Mid-Atlantic region than this guy. He knows the ocean better than anybody, you know, or as good as anybody, I should say, and has been surfing this area for 4 decades. I don't know how many decades that is. I mean, you said you started when you were 6, and you're 43, close, so almost 4 decades there. So. Long time. Well, any final words? Anyone you want to thank? Shout outs, sponsors, associates?
So I always thank you, my parent. Like I always attribute a lot of my career to you, my parents. Jeff and Kathy Phillips. We just saw Jeff Phillips riding a bodyboard out in the water. Catch surf. Like, you know, there's been a lot of guys that have supported my career, like, you know, over the years. So. I've got, like, the sport has given me more than anyone would ever realize, and I'm grateful to everyone that's ever helped me, everyone I've ever met with it. So,
yeah, man.
Yeah, it's been a cool, like, ride for sure.
Yeah, and Catch Surf still supports you with the boards, and you got Cake Coast here in town partnering up with you. So, man, I'm just stoked we got to sit down and kind of get to the bottom of what this guy's all about. Again, follow him on Instagram. We'll also post that in the description. And you can see this guy gets it on. I mean, just a couple days ago, it was pumping here, and this guy probably got the biggest wave anybody rode that day in this town. And I mean, he's a talent on surfboards and bodyboards, and look forward to seeing a lot more of you in my visits back here, man. It was a pleasure to have you on the show, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Super grateful.
So it's Brian Stoehr, folks. Thanks for tuning into the Real Deal Show. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, give us a thumbs up and a like, and throw down some comments if you have any questions or comments for Brian. You want to know more information about his wave riding school here in Ocean City. And if you listened on the audio podcast, thank you for that. And we'll see you the next time. And as always, we'll see you in the surf.